what's up guys? This is Church of Caboose, and for today's Destiny 2 video, we're going to be talking a lot about builds that synergize well with the new exotic travelers chosen for Titans. I have already done Warlocks and Hunters. I will be giving you guys a video here in the near future. So we're going to be talking only about things like subclasses, different exotic armor pieces, and a little bit about some mod ideas that will really help to synergize all your best abilities to have maximum grenades and all of that good stuff while playing as a Titan. So just a real quick little disclaimer. I am doing this as I play, so I might stutter every once in a while, maybe be like, oh shoot, I meant to do this in a different order, something of that nature, so please bear with me. I'm trying to see if I can't be better than Peter Griffin and be able to talk and play or walk and chew gum at the same time. Also, because of having to film this on Twitch and some financial limitations and tech gadgets I don't have, there could be some things like lag and stuff that happens, could be skipping over my voice. Not entirely sure what all would happen, but there could be a little bit of, I guess, not ideal video quality, so I appreciate you guys bearing with me through all of that. And I do have plans to get a capture card, which will fix it, but for now, it is what it is, and thank you guys all so much for being so awesome and putting up with it. So, let's get on into this actual video, and feel free to subscribe to the channel and like the video if you find this to be helpful to you. First up, we're going to be talking about the more serious endgame kinds of subclasses, things that would do stuff like give you lots of health, be able to make it have some more survivability, and the exotic that goes with it. The first one we're going to focus on is Solar, because in my opinion, is the best one to use for something like a solo prophecy if you are not able or don't want to do it on a warlock. I am currently on Bottom Tree Solar, rocking my good old Phoenix Cradle exotics. You can see that right there. So what's going to happen is every time I get a solar punch, I punch kill. Come here, you. Come here. Look at that. Oh, someone else finished him off first. Come on, let me get a punch. I'm going to punch a curse thrall. Oh, that backfired. Anyways, what's supposed to happen is when you get that punch, it drops a sunspot. Sunspots will do things like heal your allies when you have on this exotic. They heal you, give you some damage buffs, that sort of thing. There we go. You can kind of see some sunspots from that grenade right here. There you go. Sun Warrior right there. And so that's why this is really, really solid, because you get all that punch stuff back, the sidearm. When you consume those Gathering of Lights, what it does is it regens your ability and your energy, so your grenades, your punch, and in this case, your Titan's Barrier get a bunch of energy, and you could, in theory, have endless upon endless grenades and health. Like, look at that. Right there, I got some of my health back thanks to that grenade. So that's why I really like this subclass. It's all about the health. With the Phoenix Cradle, your super can last twice as long as it would otherwise. Those sunspots last twice as long. They give you damage buffs. It's just a really, really smart idea to use this super. Now let's go to my other favorite super option. Let's see, I'm going to run to some safety here real quick. All right, let's pull this up. And we're going to be doing Top Tree Solar. So I'm going to give you guys the actual names here real shortly as I switch around the gear. So we're going to be putting on Peregrine Greaves. Bonus damage on airborne shoulder charge. All you have to do is just do a single little jump. You can double jump, but you don't have to. And you get that perk activated. So with the Phoenix Cradle, you want Code of the Siegebreaker. With the Peregrine Greaves, you want Hammer Strike, which is Code of the Fireforge. So while sprinting, you just melee ability to swing a blazing hammer that weakens enemies. So let's just try and take advantage of the sidearm, get my punch ability charged up real quick, and I'll show you guys exactly what it's talking about. Because part of the reason why I'm in the Altar of Sorrow is because I know there's lots of yellow bars and stuff that can really let me showcase how, there we go, look at that, look at that. Look at how fast that turns it up, how well this particular super works. So come on, baby. Give me a big guy. Oh, here we go. Over there. So you can see when I jump up, if I look down, you kind of see like the little like spear spike thingies. That's the perk. Look at that. So I have that burn going. I'm getting all that extra damage because apparently I hit a cursed thrall and it's not counting as crits for some unusual reason. But it's alright. I'll get another one and show that off again. And that's what the super does. Now the hammers are really nice. They're personally my favorite hammer option. I'm not a huge fan of the Sunspot super, just because you have to be a little bit more accurate, because the top tree hammers, it splinters off, and so you don't have to actually like get direct hits. You're just like, oh shoot, close enough, and they're dead. That's how it goes. Let me just get this super here real quick, or get my there we go. I got a charge. Let me drop a shield of one of these wizards. Hiya! There we go. Drop that. Man, I went again for the thrall. Oh, well, but you can kind of see how stuff is burning, and that wizard was taking critical damage, and it was almost dead. And that's why that particular exotic is really enjoyable. And with this sidearm, you get tons of these strikes. Before, it was really popular, but then Bungie nerfed it. And part of why folks stopped using it was a little bit because there's other stuff that kind of made more sense. Due to not being able to have as many of the shoulder charges. But now, we get plenty of them. Look at that, I already got one back. So I'm going to go ahead and shoulder charge somebody else. So there you go. That's kind of concludes that whole solar thing. There is a pretty fun exotic that can go along with it that I'm going to show you guys now that works only on the solar subclass. So I kind of want to wrap up the solar subclass all together, which is why we're going to mention this. Now this exotic is a little bit more of a fun exotic as opposed to a super serious one, but you guys should still like it. It is the Hollow Fire Heart. Improves the recharge rate of your super abilities greatly, of your solar abilities, greatly improves the recharge rate while your super is charged. So like we discussed with the sidearm, what does the sidearm do? Gives you back your ability energy. What does that Hollow Fire Heart do? Gives you back your ability energy faster, and when you're in a super, it's insanely faster. The result is even more grenades and barriers and whatever punch type that you are using. Like, that's going to be a whole lot of fun to use. I always kind of like that super. Like when I was doing Guardian games, I was running with that exotic on because I knew I was going to get way more kills using that, or grenade kills and ability kills with that on, and just not using my super. Now, the reason why it's not recommended by me for a serious endgame is because you can't use your super to maximize that piece of gear. So that's kind of my take for the solar subclasses, synergizing with this really fun, unique sidearm that I'm really glad that Bungie came out with. So now we're going to go ahead and talk about our Void subclass. We already covered Art, we now covered Solar. Now let's look at Void, and then we're going to end with fun exotics and a little bit about some mods and some ideas I have for stat stuff. So if we're going to be running Void, especially because, remember, this video is about synergizing with the good old Traveler's Chosen, we're going to be focusing on subclasses that give you lots of grenade and ability usage. And for the Void, it's Code of the Commander. You get Banner Shield, which lets your allies that shoot through it, giving them kind of a rampage effect. You also have Tactical Strike, which is when you strike an enemy with this melee ability, it causes a Void explosion. We've got Resupply, which is you and your nearby allies regain health, as well as Grenade and melee energy when your Void detonators explode. Then we've got Controlled Demolition. Hit a target with a Void ability to attach a Void detonator. Further hits cause the detonator to explode, dealing damage to surrounding targets. So this whole thing is all about being able to get health. You get to deal like all kinds of like explosions, and then you get to deal extra explosions because of those detonators, and then you get to give yourself a defensive wall. So it kind of combines a little bit of the best of the top tree, which is Ward of Dawn with the Bubble Titan. So you get a little bit of the best of that Ward of Dawn combined with some of the grenade and ability usages of down below, but they're more super based, and this is all more ability based. So hopefully that makes sense. Now the super I would highly suggest using with this is of course the only super that gives you back super energy, which is Ursa Furiosa's. When you're in that Code of the Commander, you hold the guard button and you put up that banner shield, and the more damage you block, the more super energy you get returned to your character, and so you get your supers faster. So that's why I'm like, yes, if you're gonna do Code of the Commander, then you really, really want to use Furiosas. So hopefully that kind of gives you guys a really fun look at all the different stuff you can do with the subclasses to kind of take stuff a little bit more seriously and have a good old time. And again, if you're really looking to do a solo flawless kind of a deal on anything, I would really suggest using Phoenix Cradle with that bottom tree solar subclass. That's kind of really the best way get going when you're doing all of that goodness. So now let's have a little look at some of the fun stuff that we can do with different exotics and armor pieces and whatnot in combination with this wonderful sidearm. If you guys can't tell, I actually really enjoy this thing. I'm gonna go hide. Ooh, I can hide here while we talk. All right, let me pull this up. So we're just gonna kind of go down from helmet all the way down to the feet. We're gonna go from head to toe, head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Yeah, do that kind of a thing. I'm talking about some of these exotics that synergize well with the sidearm. So I guess the first helmet we're going to mention is going to be Mask of the Quiet One. Gain ability energy when you're damaged, when critical, heal on kills. So you're going to have improved ability regeneration rate, which is when you're damaged, which, let's be honest, do we ever go a whole activity without taking any kind of damage? No. So it's going to work pretty well with that sidearm, and it's a really nice extra bonus that when you get hit or get critical, you heal on kills. So it's kind of like combining some of the best aspects of like Code of the Juggernaut into this one helmet that you can use pretty well with our fun exotic sidearm in order to get more of those abilities. We've also got Kepri's Horn. Solar kills recharge a solar blast barricade. So when you throw down the barricade, you put out a little thermite grenade. It's just one burst, like poof, and it mows down whatever in its path. And so now it's been basically a useless exotic because how often do you use barricades? But now you can use them constantly, which means this is going to be a really, really fun exotic. More for hoots because it's not going to do a whole lot to actually, save you in serious things, but still a fun one. And of course, we got Insurmountable Skullfront because I have to throw in a more predominantly used PvP used exotic. This helmet, when you get a kill with a shoulder charge, you immediately get your shoulder charge back. However, in PvP, for some reason, sometimes you might not get a kill if you hit someone with an overshield, or maybe if you hit them with your shoulder charge, they trade you with a shotgun, and so you don't get your health, that energy back right away, because there is just like a brief little pause that has to happen before you get that charge. So never fear, Traveler's Chosen is here, and you'll get back that shoulder charge enemy and maintain being that classic toxic Titan asshole inside of PvP. So that kind of wraps up for our helmets. Now let's look at the gauntlets here. I would really encourage you guys to look at Ashen Wake. It's improved fusion grenades. So this is another kind of a PvP exotic. Although some folks have said it works really well in PvE, I personally just don't like it inside of PvE. So it has approved detonation. We're going to just kind of look at the exact details so I can read off everything it does. Fusion grenades now explode on impact, so you don't have to wait. So gone are the days of trading while you wait for that grenade to blow up. So they now explode on impact and gain increased throw speed. Final blows of fusion grenades grant grenade energy. So we get more energy, the grenades are faster, they blow up on impact. Like, what's not to like if you love grenades? And what does their sidearm do? Gives us lots of grenades. So this is a really fun exotic to mess around with. It could be used for some endgame kinds of stuff, maybe some solo things, but you might have to be a much better Titan player than I in order to reliably use it inside of like that solo prophecy. Now let's go ahead and move on down to the chest. We got a couple of doozies inside of this chest. Number one, the most probably underused Titan exotic of current existence, in my opinion, is the Severance Enclosure. It was specific to Dawn, or Season of Dawn, back in last spring. Powered melee kills and finishers unleash explosions. So when you have that melee punch charged up, you punch someone with it, they go kind of like Doom Marchers, but there's not as much of a chaining effect. And then finishers do even more. Like if you look at it, it says finishers are an even bigger explosion. The more powerful the enemy, the more radius and damage of the explosion. It wasn't that really used because it highly relied on getting up close and personal. You had to have a full charged punch, and some of the punches go away when you do it initially. But now with the use of swords, we're getting up close and personal anyways, and so this will make it easier to use swords, and we're getting a lot more punch ability kills from like full charge punches because of our sidearm, the Traveler's Chosen. So this should be a pretty fun one to mess around with. I wouldn't do serious endgame with it, but it's kind of fun in my opinion. And so far I've tried it out a little bit and I do enjoy it. We've also got the Crest of Alpha Lupi. And of course, I have to mention the Crest of Alpha Luby. More orbs from supers, casting barricade heals. So you're going to get more barricades, which means you're going to get more health, and then you're going to get more orbs when you do your super, which means that your teammates will get more supers, which means that you will get more supers, and then the travel of sidearm means you're going to get more barricades, and it's just a wonderful cycle, like washing machine tumbling of awesomeness, and this chest isn't really used a whole lot because there are other exotics that tend to be better, such as Helm of Saint 14, which is why this is kind of under like the up and coming for fun. Because like Helm of Saint 14's like bubble is used almost exclusively, so I'm hoping because of this sidearm, some of these exotics are going to become more popular. And the last exotic chest piece is the Heart of Inmost Light. Use one ability to briefly improve your other abilities. So you throw a grenade, well then you get more punch regen and more barricade regen. Put down a barricade, well, then your grenade and your punch get a little bit of a boost. And then using that sidearm, and everything's getting a boost. So if you use that Heart of Inmost Light, that is like purely about ability regeneration. And as far as for fun goes, it's probably honestly your best bet for having a grand old time with the sidearm. If you watched my video on Warlocks, this is basically the equivalent of Eye of Another World, because they both do things with ability regeneration. And then with boots, as always, Doom Marchers, can't go wrong. We already talked about them a little bit, and so we're going to go ahead and move on with the video. We're going to just talk real briefly about a couple of mods you guys should consider looking at, and then we're going to probably end this video out with just a tiny bit of stat talk. Just a tiny bit. No, not a whole lot. So as you can see on the Void, make sure you guys are on Void, because you won't find this particular mod is not going to work on any other energy type. You have a sidearm mod that you could buy from the season from the Prismatic Recaster called Surprise Attack. While charged with light, reloading or readying a sidearm will consume all stacks of charged with light and convert them into stacks of major damage buff, which are depleted as you damage combatants with that sidearm. So obviously, it's going to make our Traveler's Chosen even better because it's going to put way more damage out as you pick up Orbs of Light. Now, how should you pick up Orbs of Light? In my opinion, you can't go wrong with taking charge. Become charged with lights by picking up Orbs of Light. Like, you don't have to worry about losing your super. Like, we've got ones where if you do like a which one is it? I see. There's one of them. There you go. Become charged with light by finishing combat, consuming 1/10 of your super. Like, you don't have to do that with taking charge. You just pick up an orb of light, so someone else's super, run a masterwork weapon, something, and you can make that Traveler's Chosen even more potent. But the main thing is you're going to have to run one of those different green. I guess not. They're not all green now, are they? Oh, there you go. Become charged like that. The green mods are the ones that get you charged with light. So you have to have at least one of them on in order to be able to use our Surprise Attack mod that boosts the damage of your sidearm. And remember, it says a major damage buff, so it's a pretty big deal. I'm gonna do a build around the Traveler's Chosen. So now as I'm hopping around doing our thing out here, let's just talk very briefly about stats. Now stats, in my opinion, you can get really, really bogged down on stats, and so we're just going to talk very broadly. And there's two broad ways that I could really see working very well with a build around a Titan and Traveler's Chosen. You could either really lean hard into the ability of the Traveler's Chosen and have like max discipline and try to do as high of recovery and resilience as you can, and have as high strength as you can, so that way if for some reason your Traveler's Chosen just doesn't quite do it, it's not that big of a deal. Or you could go the exact opposite way, which is going to be, hey, let's just count completely on my sidearm being able to do all kinds of wonderful stuff, and we're going to not worry at all about having much discipline, resilience. We're going to focus everything into intellect, mobility, and recovery. So those are kind of the two things I usually expect to see the most from myself, and probably from most of you guys as well, when it comes to trying to come up with a nifty little build that will work well for how this sidearm works. Alright guys, thank you all so much for watching. Let me know down below if you have any other ideas. The main thing, I didn't get through every exotic, because there's a lot of Titan exotics that I actually think would work really well for this video, and that's part of why it's like 3 minutes longer now than my Warlock video. Titans have a good chunk of exotics that synergize well with ability regeneration. and that sort of thing, and healing. So the main thing I would suggest you guys look out for is when you're looking at exotics is, do you get an assistance with generating your abilities, or you do get anything with like health or super extension, that kind of thing. I did cover most of the exotics, but there are a couple of them that I did not get to. Like Wormgod Caress, for example, increases melee damage and melee range, which would work pretty well if you're getting lots of melee regeneration. So let me know down below what you guys think. Thank you guys all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to click that subscribe button while you're here anyways. And remember to check out my Warlock video and Hunter video, especially if you have all 3 characters and not just a Titan. And show me some love, because you guys are all fantastic, and I really appreciate that you guys are here. I am Church of Cub. Oh, actually, last thing. See, I mentioned at the beginning that I was doing this live. By the way, you can catch me live on Twitch at Church of Caboose. That I might recant a couple of things and stutter a little bit. If you are looking for a clan or just a Discord group to have for LFG purposes, comment down below or look in my description box and join the eventual Discord server. When you hop in, say something like, hey, I'm a fan of his, or I liked his video off of YouTube. You'll get a specific role, so that way you don't necessarily have to be in our actual clan, but you're also welcome to join our clan. We have Xbox and PC, but if we get some PS4 going, I think we would be open to trying to do some PlayStation stuff. I know my admins are always looking to try and help people out and enjoying the game. You guys are all awesome. I am Church of Caboose. Have a great week and happy grinding, y'all.